Welcome to your ultimate guide for the last lesson. In this video, we'll cover everything you need to master this chapter: character insights, themes, reference to context, passages, probable questions, keywords, common errors, and tips for answering like a pro. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends. It helps us grow and keep bringing you the best content. Let's begin. Franz starts as a reluctant student, indifferent towards his lessons. But during the last lesson, he undergoes a transformation. His regret for neglecting his studies and realization of the importance of language turn him into a symbol of lost opportunities and cultural awareness. M. Hamel represents dedication and patriotism. On his last day, he dons his Sunday best, showing his respect for the language. His words resonate deeply, emphasizing that language is a key to freedom and identity. He stands as a guardian of culture and heritage. The villages in the classroom symbolize regret and solidarity. Their silent presence is a powerful statement against linguistic chauvinism. They remind us of the importance of unity in preserving cultural identity. Now let's have an overview on the themes of this chapter. The central theme of the last lesson revolves around the deep connection between language and identity. M. Hamel's final lesson on the French language is a poignant reflection of this connection. For the people of Alsace, their language represents their culture, history, and personal identity. When the French language is no longer allowed to be taught in schools due to political changes, it signifies the loss of their cultural freedom and autonomy. The key idea of this theme is the loss of language is not just the loss of a way of communication, but also the loss of cultural identity. The supporting example that you see in the textbook is M. Hamel's words: when a people are enslaved, as long as they hold on to their language, they have the key to their prison, highlight how language becomes a tool of resistance and a means of preserving one's heritage and freedom. Next is regret and missed opportunities. Regret is a recurring emotion in the story, especially for Franz and the villagers. Franz reflects on how he neglected his studies and missed the opportunities to learn more about his language. Similarly, the villagers regret not having paid enough attention to preserving their language and culture when they had the chance. The story reveals how people often realize the value of something only after it's lost. The supporting example: Franz's inner thoughts, "I should have been more diligent," reflect his regret as he realizes that the loss of his language is irrevocable. His regret parallels that of the villagers who now wish they had done more to safeguard their French identity. The next theme is patriotism and nationalism, which are deeply embedded in the narrative, as the imposition of the German language over French symbolizes the erosion of the French identity in the region of Alsace. M. Hamel embodies his patriotic spirit by dedicating his last lesson to not just teaching French but also to instilling a sense of pride in the language. The story underscores how language is tied to national pride and the collective identity of a people. The supporting example: M. Hamel's statement, "We must never forget that it is your language that is the key to your prison," suggests that language is more than just words. It is a symbol of a nation's sovereignty and pride. The fourth theme, sacrifice and selfishness, are shown through the character of M. Hamel, who, despite the personal grief of losing his job and witnessing the erasure of his language, continues to teach his students one last lesson. He wears his Sunday best, symbolizing his respect for the significance of the day and his dedication to his country and students. Supporting example from the text: M. Hamel's deep emotional attachment to the French language is revealed when he delivers his final lesson, ensuring his students understand the deeper value of the language. Even though he knows that this is the last time he will teach, he does not falter in his responsibility. The fifth theme, the power of education. Education plays a critical role in the story, not just as a means to acquire knowledge, but also as a tool for preserving one's culture and identity. Through education, individuals can learn to appreciate the value of their heritage and the world around them. The story portrays education as a tool of empowerment and a means of cultural preservation. Supporting example from the text, the scene where M. Hamel urges his students to never forget that it is your language that is the key to your prison, demonstrates how education, specifically through language, can be a means of liberation. The next theme is cultural and linguistic hegemony. It is a subtle yet powerful theme in the last lesson. The imposition of the German language on the Alsatian by the Prussian authorities reflects the broader theme of cultural dominance and the erasure of the French language and identity. The theme of linguistic hegemony exposes the oppressive power dynamics in colonial and post-colonial societies where one culture forces its language on another. The supporting example for this theme is the news of the French language being banned in schools and replaced with German demonstrates the aggressive cultural control imposed by the colonizers. The entire village's attendance at the last French lesson represents a collective resistance to this form of cultural subjugation. The themes in the last lesson are deeply intertwined with the political, social, and cultural fabric of the story. They reflect the struggles of identity, the consequences of neglecting one's heritage, and the role of education in preserving both personal and collective memories. These themes speak to readers about the importance of cherishing one's culture, the value of language, and the painful consequences of losing both. Now, let us look at the reference to context of this chapter. This line is spoken by M. Hamel during his last lesson to emphasize the importance of language in maintaining one's cultural identity. M. Hamel here says this to his students as he begins the final lesson, knowing that the language of instruction will soon be replaced by German due to the political situation. Franz reflects on his past attitude towards school and learning, realizing his negligence in the face of the impending loss of his language. Franz is describing his feelings here as he sits in the classroom processing the news of the last lesson. M. Hamel addresses his students on the last day of French instruction. Franz observes the classroom's eerie silence as everyone realizes the gravity of the situation. Franz looks at the villagers who have come to attend the last lesson and sees M. Hamel's emotional state. Franz is overwhelmed with the idea that his education is coming to an end as the teaching of French will be replaced by German. Franz remembers M. Hamel's serious expression during the last lesson. M. Hamel bids farewell to his students as the final lesson ends. Here are a few short questions along with value points are given for you to understand the chapter better and practice the question answers. And also, you can find here the long answers which you might see on your exam day. Other than that, you can see on this the key words that you can use in this chapter for your answers. And here at last, the common errors that students make is addressed, so take care of them. Find these tips for writing better answers for this chapter. With this comprehensive guide, you are all set to ace the last lesson. Remember, language is not just a tool, it's our identity. If you found this video helpful, hit like and subscribe and share it with your classmates. Wishing you all the best for your exams.